That familiar sound, the sharp snap of a soda can being opened, followed by a fizzing rush, seems innocent enough. It's a tiny moment of pleasure, a break in the day, a sugary treat that promises refreshment. But what if that single, everyday act is the start of a chain reaction with impacts far beyond what most of us ever imagine? In the next few minutes, let's take a journey, one that follows the path of a single can of soda, tracing its immediate effects inside your body, and then following its legacy as it ripples out into the world around us. The story is more surprising and more urgent than you might think. Let's start with the first sip. That sweet, bubbly liquid is more than just a thirst quencher. It's a concentrated delivery system for sugar. In a standard can, you'll find around 39 grams of sugar, the equivalent of about 10 teaspoons. Because it's dissolved in liquid, this sugar bypasses the mechanisms your body uses to slow sugar absorption, delivering a potent dose directly into your bloodstream within minutes. Unlike the sugar in fruit, which comes bundled with fiber that slows absorption and makes you feel full, the sugar in soda is absorbed at lightning speed, and it doesn't trigger the same satiety signals in your brain. You drink those extra calories without even realizing it, often on top of your existing meals. Your liver is the first organ to bear the brunt. Think of your liver as a hard-working processing plant, capable, but with limits. When a sudden flood of sugar arrives, the liver can't use it all for energy, so it begins converting the excess into fat. Over time, this process can lead to the buildup of fat inside the liver itself, known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition that's quietly becoming a global epidemic. But the sugar rush doesn't stop there. The spike in blood sugar prompts your pancreas to release insulin, the hormone that helps shuttle sugar out of your blood and into your cells. But as you repeat this cycle, can after can, day after day, your cells can become resistant to insulin's message. It's like they start ignoring the doorbell, refusing to let the sugar in. This is the hallmark of type 2 diabetes, a disease that now affects hundreds of millions of people worldwide. Drinking just one sugary drink per day is linked to a significant increase in your risk of developing diabetes. The excess sugar and resulting insulin surges also wreak havoc elsewhere. They fuel weight gain, especially harmful belly fat. For children, the numbers are even more alarming. Regular soda drinkers have a 60% higher risk of becoming obese. This is about more than just appearance. It's a direct pathway to a host of chronic diseases, including heart disease, high blood pressure, and metabolic syndrome. There's another, even more insidious risk. Multiple studies have found a link between regular consumption of sugary drinks and certain cancers. One large French study found that drinking even a third of a can per day was linked to an 18% higher risk of developing cancer. Researchers believe the effect may not be solely due to obesity. There's evidence that sugar itself can help fuel cancer growth, possibly by promoting inflammation and creating an environment where tumors thrive. And then there's your mouth. The combination of sugar and acidity in soda creates the perfect storm for dental decay. Bacteria in your mouth feed on sugar, producing acids that erode tooth enamel, while the acid in the soda itself accelerates the process. It's a 1-2 punch that leads to cavities, tooth sensitivity, and even tooth loss. So within the space of a single can, there's a storm unfolding inside your body. A blitz of sugar and acid, a scramble in your liver, a surge of insulin, and the slow, cumulative march toward obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and more. But the story doesn't end when you finish your soda and toss the can, or more likely, the bottle, into the trash or recycling. Now, let's follow that bottle's journey. The beverage industry churns out around 500 billion plastic bottles every year. Despite the blue bins and the comfort of recycling symbols, only about 9% of plastic is actually recycled. The vast majority ends up in landfills, is incinerated, or escapes into the natural environment. That plastic bottle, designed for a few minutes of use, will persist for centuries, potentially 450 years or more, slowly breaking down into smaller and smaller fragments. making that bottle is itself an environmental disaster. It's made from fossil fuels, oil and natural gas, which must be extracted, refined, and transported, all of which pump greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And to make 1 liter of soda, manufacturers use nearly 2 liters of fresh water, a staggering waste in a thirsty world. When plastic bottles aren't recycled, they often find their way into rivers, lakes, and eventually the ocean. There, they pose a deadly threat to marine life, choking birds, fish, and mammals, and disrupting entire ecosystems. But the most dangerous impacts are the ones you can't see. Over time, plastic breaks down into microplastics, tiny particles so small they can be ingested by plankton, fish, and, ultimately, by us. Recent studies suggest that the average person might consume the equivalent of a credit card's worth of plastic every week through water, food, and even the air we breathe. Scientists are only beginning to uncover the health risks, but early evidence links microplastic exposure to inflammation, hormone disruption, and possibly even increased risk of cancer and heart disease. And here's where the two catastrophes converge. The same companies that profit from selling you sugar-laden drinks are also the world's top plastic polluters. For years, the largest soda brands have topped global rankings for plastic waste. Promises to use more recycled material or to create a world without waste have largely fallen flat, with most companies quietly retreating from even their modest sustainability goals. Why? Because single-use plastic is cheap, convenient, and profitable. The result is a vicious cycle: a global health crisis fueled by sugar and an environmental crisis fueled by plastic. But it doesn't have to be this way. The solution starts with individual choices: choosing water or unsweetened drinks, using a reusable bottle, and supporting brands that prioritize sustainable packaging. It's about demanding more from the companies that create this crisis, holding them accountable for both the health and environmental impacts of their products. On a larger scale, it's about pushing for policies that put the burden of waste back on producers, like container deposit laws that have been shown to dramatically increase recycling rates. The story of 1 can of soda is, ultimately, a story about choices, both ours and those made in corporate boardrooms. Each can is a ripple in a much larger pond, a decision that affects not just your own health, but the health of our planet for generations to come. The cycle of harm continues only if we let it. So next time you hear that familiar crack and fizz, remember, it's not just a drink. It's a decision that echoes far beyond your taste buds. The power to break this chain of catastrophe is in your hands. Choose wisely.